Hey everybody, welcome to True Crime Tarot by Pilot Gal. This is my aviation channel and True Crime Tarot channel. So I use this channel for true crime mysteries and for aviation disasters. Everything presented in this video is for fun and entertainment purposes only. It's tarot. I'm just a gal with cards. All right, so this particular reading is very personal to me. My dad was a private pilot. I grew up flying with him, and he co-owned a plane with a man named Bob Corner, very good friend of our family. He had 7 children. He and Dad used to go flying all the time. My parents would go to the Bahamas with Bob Corner and his wife. And they used to have a lot of fun flying. I used to have a lot of fun flying. My sister didn't like it so much, but we used to fly with him. One particular day in May 1973, the flight occurred on May 25th, but the night before that, my parents were set to go with Bob Corner to Freeport, Bahamas. They're going to go for the weekend, have a good time. And the night before, my mom came down with a very upset stomach. She ended up just getting sick all night, and my dad called Mr. Corner and said, "Hey, tell you what, we'll meet you down there. I'll rent a plane. We'll meet you down there. My wife's just too ill to go tomorrow." So Bob said, okay. He got another friend of his, Reno Rogan, I believe his name was, and he was also a pilot, and they decided to fly out. So May 25th, 1973, 3:30 p.m., they left Page Field out of Fort Myers, Florida, which is where I'm from, to fly to Freeport, Bahamas. Now, he was flying a 1947 Navion A16, I believe it is. The aircraft tail number was November 5126 Kilo, and Freeport is about 100 miles northeast of Miami. So, Freeport, Bahamas is 100 miles northeast of Miami. Now, Fort Myers, Florida is directly across the state. I'll put a graph up here for you. It's directly across the state on the west coast of Florida, and almost directly to the east is, a little bit to the south, is Miami. So they took off, an eventful flight till they got to West Palm Beach when Mr. Corner contacted the Miami Air Control and asked them for weather information. They were advised that there was a belt of severe thunderstorms between West Palm Beach and Freeport, and they were advised to turn to the southwest to circumvent the weather cells. Another plane was about 10 minutes behind them, and they both acknowledged that they were diverting to the southwest to circumvent the cells. And that's the last anyone ever heard from Bob Corner or Reno Rogan. When they lost contact, the plane that was behind them turned around and started searching. They went back over the area they had just flown and searched for quite a while before they finally had to go back towards Freeport so they wouldn't run out of fuel. And that's the last anyone ever heard from them. He had 7 children, and I knew the sons. I think Robert and Chris were the oldest, and they never heard from them again. And back then, they had to, because the plane wreckage was never found, they had to wait 7 years for him to be declared dead. So that was a really traumatic time for, of course, Bob Corner's family. So I really want to know what happened. What happened? Everyone's wondering. There's lots of rumors out there, lots of speculation, but this happened in 1973. So let's find out what happened to Bob Corner. Okay, one other thing I want to mention is Mr. Corner was from Oxford, England. Was a really nice man. Used to love his English accent. A big prankster. He used to play jokes all the time. He was a really, really funny man. But he was from Oxford, and I think he started flying in 1952. By the time of the flight, he had 5,000 flight hours. So he was very experienced flyer. And after that, my mom was absolutely petrified to have my dad fly. She used to fuss at him all the time. I think he flew for a few more years, and finally he had, I think he sold the plane that he had. He had co-owned the plane with Mr. Corner, and I don't think that was the aircraft that Mr. Corner was flying. I can't remember now, but I do know that my dad got rid of the plane that he had after that because Mom just wouldn't let him fly anymore. So anyway, first thing I did when I got my license in 2001, I called my dad and I said, Dad, we're going flying. And I went down there and picked him up and we went to Key West. So that was really fun. Anyway, okay. For this reading, I'm going to use the Ethereal Visions Illuminated Tarot deck by Matt Hughes. It's a really lovely deck, and it's really good for using with people who have passed on, spiritual readings. So let's see what the tarot can tell us about what happened to Mr. Corner. All right, let me get my, whoops, whoopsie. Let me get my questions out here. All right, so when Bob Corner turned southeast or southwest, I wrote down southeast, to avoid the weather, what happened to the plane? When he turned around, when he diverted to avoid the weather, what happened to the plane? Did the plane crash? Did the plane crash? Did Bob and Reno actually land somewhere safely? Did they land somewhere safely? There are a lot of uncharted islands off the coast there. So did it land somewhere safely? And this is a question that has just been speculated for a while, but did Bob and Reno fake their deaths? A friend of my dad's told me that once, that there was a lot of speculation that he had financial issues and they just faked their deaths. I cannot see that happening, but I'm going to ask it. Will the plane ever be found? This happened in 1973. You never know. Will that plane, wreckage of that plane, ever be found? And will Bob or Reno ever be found? Any trace of them? Will they ever be found? All right, so those are my questions. It's a 6-card tarot reading. Wow, I'm not getting any action from these cards. Of course, I haven't used them for a long time. There we go. Starting to get something here. Okay. I can't really... Oh, there we go. Okay. Can't really start the reading until I do justice. Ooh. Okay, that's an interesting card to come up. Whoops. All right, I think these cards pretty much are ready. All right. I guess we're going to go with that one. All right. Let's see. 6-card reading. What happened to Mr. Corner and Reno Rogan? What happened to them? Underlying energy. Oh, the Devil in reverse. The Tower in reverse. The Sun. Okay. Okay. That answers my question right there. All right. The Devil in reverse. This is about dark energy, dark thoughts, evil deeds, addiction. Ooh. Trying to free yourself. The Tower in reverse, a catastrophe of your own making, and the Sun, which is things being brought out into the light, things being finished exposure. Wow. Okay. Wow. 3 Arcana cards. Wow, this is a big reading. Ooh, I'm getting goosebumps. Okay. All right, so when Bob turned to avoid the weather, what happened to the plane? 5 of Pentacles. They were cut out. They were cut out. Okay, so this is being on the outskirts. This is being... Oh, I'm getting goosebumps. Okay. This is being... this can be poverty. This can be spiritual poverty. This can be being just cut out of the situation. Leaving, excluded, exile. You're in exile. What happened to the plane? Well, it obviously did not fare well against the weather. Very dark forces. Catastrophe of their own making, and the Sun. Something that they did, some way that they averted the plane. It didn't work. They brought catastrophe upon themselves. So something about the way they handled the plane when they turned around probably brought the plane down. All right, did the plane crash? Did the plane crash? 8 of Cups. Oh, that's about walking away. So if the plane crashed, they walked away from the crash. That's going to lead into my next question. So I don't think the plane did crash. Well, if it did, they walked away from it. And it was a very dark a dark deed. Something took fear, probably fear, took over. And maybe they got into a situation they were very afraid of. And the sun, it's going to be exposed. There's some exposure that's coming out. They walked away. So if the plane crashed, they walked away from the crash. Did they land somewhere safely, or did they actually land the plane? 7 of Cups. I think they tried to. This is gaslighting. This is choosing a path that didn't quite work out. They thought they could do something that they couldn't. I think they tried to land the plane somewhere, maybe landed on the water. It's called ditching. So if you need to ditch the plane, I believe the float time of that particular aircraft is about 3 minutes. So if they did try to ditch, I think they tried something they didn't work. It didn't work out as they expected. So they may have tried to ditch the plane. Most people who fly over water like this with a single engine plane, you have a kit on board. It has like a raft in it, blankets, that sort of thing. And you can, it's in a small container, and you take that with you when you ditch a plane, you kind of open the door a little bit, so when it lands, that door doesn't get blocked. I think this aircraft also had a sliding canopy in the back. That could get jammed, but according to his sons, that particular sliding canopy did jam sometimes. So whatever they tried to do, it didn't work out as they expected. They were gaslighting themselves on what they could do. All right, did Bob and Reno fake their deaths? Is that what happened? 2 of Cups. No, this is about love and relationships. It's under the 5 of Pentacles. Being cut out. They had a very good relationship together, and the relationships that they had were very good. I don't think they did. This was just something dark that happened. This was fear. This is intense fear, and that if they survived it, they thought that was our fault. We shouldn't have done that. And the Sun. I wonder if they said they were going to turn around and then didn't. And they didn't fake their own deaths. No, they were just taken out. All right, is the plane ever going to be found? Is that ever going to happen? King of Pentacles in reverse. King of Pentacles in reverse. I don't think so. I don't think so. King of Pentacles is about a man, a very important man who's lost his wealth. He was a very important man in Fort Myers. Is that plane ever going to be found? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think it was destroyed. And whatever happened, it was something about the way they turned the plane around. Something to do with exposure. Something was brought out into the light. I know he maintained those planes very well. It couldn't have been any issue with the plane, but they were able to walk away from it. So if the plane did crash or if they did ditch, they were able to walk away from it. Will Bob or Reno ever be found? Are they ever going to be found? The Hermit in reverse. So we have a lot of Arcana cards here. The Hermit upright is about withdrawing from the world. You really have to think. You kind of are saying, what's going on here? I need to really examine my soul. And in reverse, you have now done that examination, and now you're ready. Oh, you're ready to come out into the world. It's possible one of them might be found. One of either their remains or one of them may someday be found. We may someday find out what happened to them. But it had to do with a lot of dark... they were in the Bermuda Triangle. That was the other thing I wanted to mention. This is a Bermuda Triangle reading. Something happened that had to do with dark forces. And they brought it on themselves. And somehow the way they were flying... it could be some instrument failures happened. And they realized that, the exposure is that these instruments are not working. Something did happen to the plane that compromised them flying it. You know what? An instrument may have given out. This is about being cut out and exiled. So when they turned around, what happened to the plane? Some instrument may have failed them, and I wonder if they had trouble seeing. He was instrument rated, though. He would have been able to fly on instruments. So now this reading has brought up more questions than I had before. Okay. So when you we'll do a wrap up here. When they turned the plane around because of weather, what happened to the plane? Something cut out, something stopped. Maybe, if an instrument failed, then he would not have been able to use that instrument. So in bad weather, some of the instruments that you have an altimeter, which is your barometric pressure. You have your attitude indicator, which tells you if your wings are level. So it's an indicator that if your wings are turned this way, it'll tell you turn that way. If that went out and he was in bad weather where he couldn't see, that could be a very critical instrument that is an issue. Of course, this was 1973. You didn't have a lot of the updated avionics you have now. Did the plane crash? If it did, they did not die on the crash. They were able to walk away from it. So I don't know if it crashed into the ocean or if they made it to an island and managed to land. Did they land safely? I think they tried to, and they may have tried to land on the water, which is called, like I said, ditching. But yeah, if they landed in the water and were able to get into a raft, then maybe they just never were able then to be rescued or to get to an island, or I don't know. I think they tried. Did they fake their own deaths? I don't think so. This is the two of them now. I mean, I don't think so. They had a very good relationship, and their relationships they had with their families was good. Will the plane ever be found? I don't think so. This is a loss. This is a loss right here. Loss of the aircraft, loss of the money that was into it. I don't think the plane will ever be found. And then will Bob or Reno ever be found? One of them might be. One of their remains may be found. Or if they survive, then maybe they'll be found someday living on some island. I don't know. Wow. Because they gaslit themselves as to what they could do. They may have, it's interesting. One of them may be found one of these days. Wow. All right, there you go. My goodness. I've been wanting to do this reading for a while, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. I may do some other readings on it privately and see what I can come up with. This is the first time I've ever tried to read on it. But hope you guys enjoyed that. And if you did, please like and share. And if you're a subscriber, thank you so much. I appreciate my subscribers. Hope you guys are enjoying the readings. I'll be doing some more true crime tarot readings coming up. I'm trying to do one on John Benet Ramsey, and I keep getting blocked on doing that. So we'll see what I can come up with. Thanks so much, everyone. We'll see you again soon on True Crime Tarot by Pilot Gal. Hope you're having a great day. See you soon. Bye-bye.